Hey, I wanted to show everybody the view actually. That's my building. That's Mimico waterfront area. It's actually rather nice for Toronto. And this is a bike path. It goes all the way along the lake shore to downtown. So yeah, so I've been stressed lately because of the issues that actually I've been facing. Mostly of my own making because I I have only myself to blame when I started using social media to call out against corporations and corporate contacts that were misusing, and misrepresenting themselves. Discrimination happened with me in U.S. I was actually on an H-1B for a marketing strategy role for Symantec. So, it's I'm not sure how many people know, but U.S. doesn't actually process H-1B work visas for marketing contacts. All right, they just it's for technical, financial and other specialists, but for marketing, they actually prefer to actually hire, in-house. But in my case, I had the experience, that they were looking for, because when I moved to North America, to Canada, I actually started, after an MBA, I started actually at the bottom level, as a technical. I think the first job I had was, doing technical troubleshooting for, Juno software, Juno browser, I think, whatever that was. But really very, beginner's level. And you can check my LinkedIn. I got promoted twice a year. And so my career actually when they actually were, I had worked in the U.S. before in 2000, very briefly, and I didn't like it. I don't like Silicon Valley because, as a tourist, it's great to actually go there and, enjoy. But when you're actually living there and working there, it's a very tough life because the companies expect you, when you're at work, half the time is in meetings, other half is in trainings. So the work that you are supposed to do is done, after leaving work and on the weekends. And also they're very competitive. The managers, team managers, always make sure the employees reporting into them are always competing against one another. So the culture is very, it's just a race, and I was earning good money, but in my work at Symantec, I was there for 2 years. I didn't get my 2 weeks, they just paid me, but they wanted me to work. And I was burnt out anyways. But then I realized that there were 3 people that were actually junior hired after me. And I kind of interviewed them, for these roles, even though they were not direct reports, but they were junior. That they were actually hired at a grade 10 salary, and I was at grade 9. And I actually was a senior product marketing contact by then. So yeah, when I realized it, I actually immediately, walked up to my boss. And he he gave me a lame excuse. Long story short, Symantec had flouted, all the elementary rules that are, put in place by Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, which is the watchdog for civil rights in U.S. It was created in through the Civil Rights Act of 1965, based on Martin Luther King's efforts, equal pay for equal work, and no discrimination based on ethnicity, country of origin and race. So I actually I stayed there for a few months, almost a year, after I realized that I was getting, a grade less than juniors, and as a result, I did speak up, but I made some noise. My manager actually was let go, or he resigned. But when he resigned, I thought it was went in good riddance. But after he was gone, the senior director, the VPs, they all actually just ganged up against me, and I was subject to remarks and racist remarks, unfortunately, and other, what can I say, unprofessional conduct, on behalf of C-level contacts from Symantec. So eventually, after 2 years, I got a job in Montreal, and and then I actually. So I was reprimanded so much, they'll call me in the office, and the senior director and the VP together, and bark out stuff like, oh, we'll chuck you out, we'll do this, we'll do that. And so this time, once I got a job in Montreal, I flew back, and then as the VP was crossing the hallway, I just winked at him. He looks back, I winked again. So a week of doing all these pranks, I would call them. They fired me, terminated me without, any explanation. So I had actually the reason to file a complaint, a claim with EEOC, San Jose. And I didn't realize that, when you're actually claiming to a human rights tribunal or civil rights watchdog, that there are so many cases they have, that are pending. They don't have enough employees, and as a result, the files just sit there, collecting dust. And it's just a struggle to, the kind of detailed documentation they demand to prove, something which was very obvious, that yes, I am senior and I'm paid less, period. But no, for 2 years, my claimed my file did not even have an investigator signed, so I flew down to San Jose, and I did what I do best, which make some noise by threatening to go on a 100 strike, and I just and they just had to assign me an investigator, which was and she slowly another 2 years, by the time it was December 2011. Eventually, at that time, Facebook was a private company, owned by Mark Zuckerberg, and it wasn't the Silicon Valley IT company that, a publicly traded one, as it is now. So I threatened, and I can share that email I sent to my EEOC investigator. I'm like, you guys are not going to charge this corporation, because they're too influential, and so therefore I'm actually going to release all the documents I have regarding my case on Facebook. So within that week, EEOC actually accepted my claim, and they charged Symantec, which at that time was the 4th largest IT company in the US, with the discrimination based on ethnicity, and country of origin and race. And after all this stuff, the next procedure is to actually have a mediation, which lasts another year sometimes too. So in my case, when they actually started the mediation proceedings, in the arbitration process, I said I don't want any compensation, I just want my job back. So, which of course, Symantec would never agree to that. So the mediation proceedings ended. And after that, when in most cases, EEOC would, the legal context that EEOC has, would actually file a civil claim, and represent you in the civil court for damages. In my case, they actually gave me 90 days to find a lawyer to file a civil claim. And a claim like this, when you're a single individual and you're actually filing a civil claim against a corporation, that corporation has corporate law firms, tons of lawyers. They don't let the case actually finish for like a few years. And to actually hire a lawyer and on an hourly basis is just it's something that is not within reach. That is just too much expensive. Even the money that you would earn in millions would be actually balanced out by the cost of lawyers. And but eventually, I was lucky. Through my family network, I got hold of Harmeet Dillon. She was the chairperson of the Republican Party of California, and Sikh lawyer. And it's like she accepted me as a pro bono client, and the agreement was that once I won the case, which the damages would be in millions, he would get 40% of that, and I would get the remaining 60. For me, it wasn't a matter of money as such, but what happened was that me and Harmeet, we had. She made a press release. Actually, she breached attorney-client confidentiality, and a press release was made without, a picture of mine was taken from Facebook with a turban, and long story short, she breached the confidentiality just because that year, it was 2012, and she was actually fighting, for the Senate seat. From San Francisco area against Mark Lino, and so for her campaign she tried to misuse my case and for her benefit. So I emailed her. And it was with India West, actually, the publication that she had, the reporter had actually published the story at her Tillo's behest. So I actually started sending emails. And to Harmeet, I actually, I emailed her. I'm like, well, it's like I might not be a gynecologist, but I know a cunt when I come across one. Maybe that's why you didn't stay with your first husband, because you are the goddamn whore, and not to be trusted. Stuff like that, because she's divorced once, and not really a real sick. And so she actually, she just dropped me as a client. After that, because she was influential, head of the South Asian Legal Association, yada, yada, yada. None of the other lawyers actually there, agreed to actually represent me. So in 2012, the Occupy movement was actually at its peak. So I actually thought of, reaching out to the Occupy Oakland, lawyers, because they had helped the Protestants, with their criminal charges and all. And I felt, I could find a civil attorney to represent me that way. So I approached Occupy Toronto, Occupy Toronto group. So Occupy has a directory. Occupy movement was a global one, so it had its Toronto chapter as well. So I went to the Occupy directory and I looked up, there was the name, PR contact listed there. And the name was Claude Paquette. And so I called him. And I, in my call, I mentioned that I'm a marketing strategy contact, or Silicon Valley. And as soon as he heard it, he was all ears. And the first thing he wanted to do was revamp his website, DDP Studios, which I was happy to give him suggestions. But then, a month we interacted. And this is a true story. A month later, and I hadn't met him. We had just been interacting on phone, via text and so on, and emails. So, he said, so won't you want to meet? So now we're meeting. I'm like, sir, like as and when you want. So we decided on a day, and at a time. And he had given me an address near Spadina somewhere. So the day actually that I was supposed to meet him, John Claude Paquette gave me a call. And he's like, just, please make sure you come in time because I have actually a very important engagement, right after, I'm meeting you. And I have to prepare. I'm like, well, sir, like we can always postpone. And I called him, sir. He said, no, it's fine. But and then he's like, it's just that I have a storyboard session with Alliance Films to do a production series. For Donald Trump Productions, the contestant Jenna Talactova, whatever her name was, Jenna, she was actually ousted from the Miss Universe pageant when they realized that she is a transsexual woman. So there was actually like, a production series made for TV to be made, and DDP Studios, which is which claims to be AntiCorporate. The entire story that DDP Studios has, is based out of the G20, that, John Claude and his 7 partners were working for CBC, CBS, and all these, media companies, and they were covering the event. Everybody knows about G20. So he said, like, the story that he has is, during the G20, when they were covering the event and they saw the protesters protesting, they felt that that the protesters should be given some airtime. But, as per his claim, the producers actually declined to actually, give any time at all to protest. So in protest of that denial, John Claude Paquette and his 6-7 partners resigned and opened their own PR company called DDP Studios. That was actually supposed to provide a platform for little people to actually their voices to be heard. He told me that, and I was like quite convinced, and I really looked up to him that this is such a great man, to do all this. Because I after my interaction with Symantec and other companies, I had become anti-corporate myself, part of the Occupy followers, like fans, whatever you want to call it. So but then he, so all this is in the background, and so he told me, and at that time I'm like, I was impressed. I'm like, so that's great news, awesome. This is quite a prestigious. This is quite a prestigious, project, contract or whatever the deal, and and I'm so glad for you, this and that. He hung up, and then he calls me again. And this time, for the first time in my conversations with him, he came across as very short and abrupt and rude. He's like, make sure you don't actually mention about this meeting to anybody else. And I'm thinking, why should I? It's a business deal. I don't want, why would I actually disclose? And who would I disclose to anyways? So, and I'm just saying, they're not even saying anything. And he goes on, you people from other countries, when somebody says that to me here, I really feel, angry, because it's been said, I have been told that a lot. You people from other countries, and I, I'm actually, I came here in the point system as an engineer, and not as a refugee, first of all, and secondly, my citizenship, just like everybody else, or their parents or their grandparents did. And I feel like, after I became a citizen, and I gave up the citizenship of India. So this is my country, but that's the racial profiling, that gets done, and is often dropped in your face, as in when, you actually step a certain, boundary, or when somebody needs to actually put you down. But I don't take that, and so he basically, like, so when he said that, immediately, I realized that his whole brand is AntiCorporate, but he's actually trying to do a corporate deal with Donald Trump. And he doesn't want this information to be leaked, simply because that would actually put an end, to his brand. It will be like a big fake. So, and I was so pissed off that I sent him a text that I will roll you out naked on the streets of social media, and that you're a liar, cheat, sissy, faggot. So these are the 4 words actually I wrote in the text, and I sent some tweets out. They're there on my Twitter still, and that's all basically, like, just because I was upset that he's actually misrepresenting himself, which he was. Now, I use the term faggot, because in Urban Dictionary, the meaning for faggot has changed. It's not homosexual anymore. It's actually, it kind of connotes stupid or idiot. So liar, so that's how actually the term I had used it in its meaning. But he just went over and beyond and filed a case that I had no idea that he's sleeping with men, women, dogs, cats. I had no idea, and I didn't care. And I still haven't met him. That he's threatened for his life from me. So a criminal harassment charge, which is actually, these laws are put for predators, stalkers, people are really interested, somebody's out to take their life just for sending the text. And I was arrested in a way that actually was just shocking. My previous, before 2012, I had never had any interaction with the police, that would be so brutal. It's a police state. After G20, the police is forced to be brutal because, they're expected to. Just because the corporations and the context, they expect the police to be the henchmen, not be, the peacekeepers. So anyways, so that's how my story goes. That was the first criminal harassment charge. And then, of course, it's more complicated than that. But I'm actually doing well. I just wanted to let everybody know, despite everything, I have support. I have a good doctor. I have a great case manager, Professor Mahasingh. He's here. So I don't feel alone, and I'm sure there are other well-wishers I have, in Canada, and also India and other countries as well. So the story is unfolding. Please keep watching, and I do need everybody's support. Thank you.